movie junkies, welcome back to another episode of Twin Flicks, where we always here celebrating the magic of movies and physical media with you. Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema released Spawn on Blu-ray in 2012, which honestly was a great looking Blu-ray. When this came out, I gave it high marks when I reviewed it back in 2012. I really didn't have any problems with it, outside of some issues with the black levels and a couple other issues that we'll get into in my review. Well, 12 years later, our friends over at Arrow Video has finally released Spawn in 4K UHD, and they also put out a remastered Blu-ray sourced from the same 4K scan. So Spawn crawls out of its pits of hell from its Blu-ray with a fresh 4K scan from the original 35mm negative, forming a 4K DI with HDR10 and Dolby Vision grading, and preserving its theatrical ratio of 1:8:5:1, while the 2012 Blu-ray was framed wrong at 1:7:8:1. And the restoration work was handled and completed by Arrow Video. And take a closer look at Arrow Video's 4K UHD presentation of Spawn versus Warner Brothers' 2012 Blu-ray. And let's find out if this 4K is really worth the upgrade. The first area I noticed right away is with the Hell title sequence. This honestly was a mixed bag on the Blu-ray because it was overly exposed while also appearing way overly hot. And this is true with all the Hell scenes. I mean, you can clearly see this with these frames here. The 4K scan has fixed this with colors and exposure slightly pulled back, and what this has done is that it's actually drawn out much more details and textures that was otherwise obscured from the 2012 Blu-ray being blown out and overly hot, where the Hell sequences now appear much more accurately displayed without losing any information. I did also notice another nice improvement here with this 4K. The 2012 Blu-ray did have a lot of blown out highlights throughout the presentation, and I noticed this even more so when I compared it to the 4K, especially with shots that used a glowing neon green light. Now with this 4K scan and the HDR Dolby Vision grading, the highlights are dialed back some and much more pleasing to look at now, and revealing so much more details and texturing within the image than a 2012 Blu-ray had. It's a very, very nice improvement here with this 4K scan. The dark, steely look of the movie works better now mixed with the primaries and secondary colors, with help from the HDR Dolby Vision grading that really opens up the color gamut wider. While on the 2012 Blu-ray, the color palette looked faded or subdued, the black levels are also a great reference point with this 4K. And the 2012 Blu-ray having a lot of heavy crushing out of details, or other areas having some slight bright grayish blacks. Here with the 4K scan and the HDR10 Dolby Vision grading, Spawn now fully and faithfully captures the dark cinematography with some outstanding depth and black levels looking inky and truer black, along with some really nice, healthy, strong shadows and shading that now brings the film to a whole new level for home video viewing. One good example of this is with Spawn's red cape. We can now see the red-maroon color that pops a little bit better under the darkness of night. Also, I noticed darker highlights are now rendered with various degrees of black levels, and this really helps, especially coupled with brighter visual elements. A perfect example of this is the scene where Clown uses a tanker truck against Spawn, firing grenades at him. The bright explosions work much better here with this 4K against the black highlights and just the darkness of night. This 4K restoration is remarkably truer to the source material that was supervised by director Mark DePay. The higher 2160p resolution gives a rock-solid image that's refreshed with clearer, sharper imagery, or as sharp as it can be. Finer details are remarkable, but especially Spawn's suit. With those close-ups of his suit, it looks excellent. But the real testament to this 4K is with the late 90s CG work. And while the effects definitely do look more like cut scenes from a low-budget 90s video game, even back in 97 it looked bad. And while the effects clearly still look dated and dodgy, overall it pretty much holds up fairly well and looks much better blended in with the live action footage, where even the matte lines aren't as noticeable as they are on the 2012 Blu-ray. I also noticed that the 4K carries much more depth and three-dimensionality that really helps giving the image more spaciousness, especially with the exterior shots of the city or when Spawn is standing on the rooftops with his long cape. The image now has room to breathe, showcasing the cinematography, the dark production design, the costume designs, the makeup effects, with a truer looking cinematic appearance, unlike the Blu-ray that honestly always had somewhat of a flat appearance. And the grain structure is intact here on this 4K. There are areas, mainly during the heavy CG work, where grain does appear a little bit thicker and a little bit noisy, but this is just inherited from the source material. Overall, the 4K scan, the grain field gives off a very healthy 35mm filmic appearance, unlike the 2012 Blu-ray, where it had a lot of DNR use. Alright guys, now let's dive into the audio presentation of this 4K, and it comes with two audio tracks, a DTS HD 5.1 lossless mix, and a PCM stereo mix. 5.1 mix is an aggressive sounding mix, with constant activity in the surrounds, from slight atmospherics to the heavy action set pieces, and of course the movie score from Creamerville. The mix allows for effects and the score to interact well with each other. There's also some really nice sense of space and depth with distinct separation and some really nice object movement as well. Low ends are excellent with outstanding bass that rumbles. Dialogue is rendered clean and clear. This is an excellent demo-worthy 5.1 mix. Guys, Arrow Video keeps hitting it out of the park constantly this year with the 4K titles, and Spawn is absolutely no exception, with an impressive image and aggressive audio presentations, making this one a must upgrade from your previous Blu-ray release. Or if you don't already own it, definitely pick this one up and add it to your collection. You're going to have fun with this movie, and I've already put this 4K title on my list of a reference demo-worthy disc to show off your home theater system. But now I want to hear from you. When you look at the two formats between the 2012 Blu-ray and this new 4K UHD from Arrow Video, which do you like better? Or do you see much differences at all? Head over to the comment section and let me know. And as always guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me for a few minutes here as we dive in and take a closer look at Spawn on 4K UHD. As always guys, keep physical media alive and stay tuned for another 4K versus Blu-ray comparison.
Twin Flicks presents 4K versus Blu-ray comparisons.